This is a generational robbery for the Houston Texans. Not only did they take one wide receiver in the draft, but two from the same team. The Houston Cyclones, if you would. They honestly surprised a lot of people by taking Jaden Higgins and Jaylen Noel, two wide receivers. I expected one, but two? Why not replenish the wide receiving core? And honestly, I love it. It's a really good move, and we'll kind of dive into why these moves were perfect for the Texans and how they can benefit the team moving forward. But first thing, 88% of you watching are not subscribed. Really appreciate all the support on the videos. It would not be possible with you guys, so just want to give a huge thank you. But hit that sub button if you want to see some more Texans news. Trying to stay busy, trying to pump out videos. But as for, let's start with Jaden Higgins. 6'4", monster wide receiver, similar player to Nico Collins. He can run routes pretty well. He's got a big body, tall frame, strong hands, and is an NFL caliber receiver. He's a really good player. Not only that, an elite separator of a route runner. 3% drop rate, that has to open your eyes. And even if he is a little bit of a stiff receiver and he takes some time to develop to the NFL, that's why you have Nico Collins on the left side to take away the wide receiver one to do the dirty work. And if you want to double Collins, all right, Higgins will be open. If you want to double Higgins, Collins will be open. So you can't put two guys on both of them. Not that that was the problem last year, but the Texans had a very lack of depth at wide receiver core. And when Tank Dell went down, when you have John Mechie, Xavier Hutchinson, those guys try and step up, they're just not great enough to create separation. And you saw the Texans try and bring in Deontay Johnson. It just wasn't a factor. So I was a big fan of them getting Christian Kirk, but obviously you need some more depth. So why not go out and get Jaylen Noel? 70% win rate off man coverage, and honestly, he's a route runner. Basically, the new slot receiver for the Houston Texans. And looking at both of them, there was a reason why they paired together so well at Iowa State. And it was Higgins running the separate routes as the wide receiver one, and then Noel opening up the middle of the field. I think that's what the Texans offense is going to try and be this year. Kind of run heavy like it was with Scadaboo at Iowa State. Have Higgins go up and get the big ball. Noel on the right side. Hey, little quick, speedy guy. You could just get a little screen to. My only downfall with Noel is the problem is his size, right? You look at Jaylen Noel, love him as a player. But let me ask you guys, what does he remind you of? Jaylen Noel, 5'10", 185 out of Iowa State. 161, 2,400 yards, 28 touchdowns, elite route runner, great ability to separate. But size and 50-50 balls, obviously 50-50 balls, he's not really going to be anything crazy. But Tank Dell is who I'm getting at here. Tank Dell, a smaller wide receiver, around that 5'10 range, 160, 5'8, whatever his size is. He was a smaller guy, under 6 foot, more of a slot receiver. And not saying, anything crazy, but the knee injury was unfortunate. I don't think that has anything to do with his size. But we saw Mr. Tank Dell struggle to start last season. He dropped a lot of open passes, and he got open, no doubt. But, he had a slow start to the season. Not to say he didn't bounce back. But honestly, with the uncertainty of whether Dell will come back from that crazy knee injury, Noel is going to be a good depth piece. And regardless of if he wins out the job for training camp, it's only a matter of time before they move on from Christian Kirk. Because Kirk was a fill-the-void kind of guy. You signed a 1 year, you traded for him, you restructured his contract to a 1-year deal. Perfect. You have a veteran in there now, and he could do what he's asked for. And this is why the Texans and Nick Caserio are so smart, because you look at this team and what it was last season. Very, very underwhelming. You fire Bobby Slowick for a reason. You went from the 12th best offense ever. Well, not ever. 12th best offense in 2023 with C.J. Stroud as a rookie quarterback, and then the sophomore slump, which I still don't believe in, but you had a bad offensive line, you had some bad play calls, you had a lot of third and long situations. Their third and long efficiency was so bad, and part of the reason Stroud got sacked so many times was because Bobby Slowick, hey, let's run it 2 times, and then let's pass it on this long developing route that's 8 yards down the field, and if we can't get the first down, it's like that's the absolute madness of watching last year. Bobby Slowick was so frustrating to watch. Obviously, it ties into a lot of other things. Stroud wasn't perfect either. The offensive line definitely wasn't helping. But to drop 10 spots in 1 year is very bad. Now, the Texans, some fans argue, hey, the offensive line is worse. And I'm not saying it isn't, but it can't be any worse than last season. That offensive line, double-digit sacks on the interior. Shaq Mason, let down of a veteran. That guy was not very good. Double-digit sacks for him. Kenyon Green, he got injured, but clearly a bust. Was not very good. Taken 15th overall, did not live up. Traded him, good. You restack the line with another veteran, but a guy who's better in the run game. Laken Tomlinson. Get Cam Robinson, another guy, decent in the trenches up front in the run game. So it makes me think the Texans are probably going to rely on that run game, and I think Jaylen Noel is probably going to be a big name you'll hear throughout the season because he's going to be that separator. He's going to be the guy to create space. And don't sleep on the Texans. Everyone's like, the Texans had a weird drafting that Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel guy from the same team. Yeah, I mean, this is a dangerous team. Think about it. If Jaden Higgins is what everyone's saying he's supposed to be, and this monster of a receiver, similar to Nico Collins, I'll take 2 Nico Collins on the field all day long because that's what you needed last year. You needed Nico Collins out left. You needed Nico Collins out right. Now you got 2 of them. I like Jaden Higgins a lot. I think he's probably similar in terms of his build to T. Higgins. Obviously, probably a better route runner than Higgins, and maybe he takes a second to evolve to the NFL level. But the way the Texans' offense is built, somebody's going to be open. Whether that's Nico Collins on the left side, Jaden Higgins on the right side, or if those guys get locked up in man coverage, if they're just running goes, you have Kirk in the middle to open up the middle of the field. And even if you're playing zone, you can open up the field as well with running the football. So this team's going to be really good. Nick Caley's going to create some run schemes. You're probably going to have a couple, double teams, wham block, whatever you want to call it in terms of the running scheme that he wants to establish and terms of recreating an identity for this offense, because last year the offense kind of went stale. It was predictable. It was Bobby Slowick, run, pass, punt. The amount of times I saw that happen last year as a Texans fan, run, punt, run, punt, run. He did it so many times, and it was so frustrating to watch. Not only that, the conservative play calling was when you were down in football games. The aggressive play calling was when you were up in football games. So Bobby, pick one. I'm happy Slowick's gone. He was definitely a problem, but so is the offensive line, and you can't just let Stroud get by squeaky clean. Yes, he did have a problem, but I'll give Stroud the benefit of the doubt. The play calls were bad. He kind of said it. He didn't want to say it openly because he's a humble dude. He's down to earth, but he definitely did not agree with a lot of those play calls. He was definitely interested to why Slowick wanted to run that. But this year, this team is going to be different. A new offensive system. We'll see what they run. 2 new receivers in the group, Jaden Higgins, Jaylen Noel, Christian Kirk, Nico Collins, and then 2 more guys you have in case something goes wrong. Braxton Berrios, another slot receiver capable of doing it, and then Justin Watson, another capable receiver, stepping up and playing number 2. Yes, I know he's a veteran, he's probably not the greatest, but the Texans got those guys for scheme fits. And Berrios can play the slot just in case something goes wrong. And the main reason to why they got Kirk was not so they can draft Noel. Noel was there in the 3rd round, and they were like, let's just grab him. I mean, why is he here? He was on our draft board. He was really high. And I love that. But the main reason to why the Texans kind of filled every need, just signed all these random offensive tackles that are veterans and then these random receivers like Justin Watson, is because we didn't really know where we were going in the draft. I figured a receiver was a need. I figured a tackle was a need. But looking at the draft, it was like, okay, we'll just kind of take who we want because we know we have filled our needs in terms of the glaring holes. And that's the thing. I don't think there are any glaring holes. There's not any position on this team that I look and I'm like, yeah, that player's not going to be good starting. I'm serious. The offensive line is solid. You don't need a dominant offensive line to win football games unless you have a lackluster quarterback. The Texans don't have a lackluster quarterback. And with a middle-of-the-pack offensive line, you can be a top 10, top 15 offense. And that's all you need to be successful in this league. The Texans went 10 wins last year. Whatever they did, they won the division, and they looked bad doing it. Their offense was bad, but the defense was winning them games. So if the offense can get its act together and figure it out, these 2 receivers will be a huge addition. And the biggest problem, again, last year with the offense, there was no separation. Nico Collins would run these routes and posts, and there was nobody capable of being a good enough route runner to open up the middle of the field. That was Deontay Johnson's job, but he complained, and that was the reason they just let him go. But they were trying to find a Deontay Johnson similar in terms of a skill type, and Jaylen Noel, I think, is a phototypical guy who can get open, do it all, and just do what he can. Like, this is what the offense should look like with CJ Stroud at the quarterback. Now, I believe this offense should be pass first, but with a run game and Joe Mixon and Woody Marks, why not lean on the run, have some play action? That's kind of what the Rams did a lot of the time. Run, play action. And I don't mind it. If you're going to have Jaylen Noel in and run some RPOs and run some motions behind you and some jet sweeps and some screens, sure, I'm fine with that. But this is what the offense should look like, and Stroud should have his 340 yards a game, just like last year. He's going to be a beast. But the Texans are a dark horse for sure because I feel like teams are sleeping on them. Yes, you look at the AFC South, people are probably like, hey, the offense looks, what's that division looking like? It's probably Texans. Texans by default, no offense. The Jaguars are probably close too. I don't think the Colts are going to be very competitive. Richardson didn't show anything last year. The Titans, maybe, just maybe we see Cam Ward do something, but I don't trust the Titans. I just don't. And looking at the Texans, nobody's talking about them. And that's what I love, is because when somebody is not talking about a team that was hyped up last year, it's almost like you think they're just going to do the same thing again this year. And the Texans had a bad season on offense last year, so they're going to bounce back. My fear, and I shouldn't say it, but my fear is maybe the defense might suck. Maybe. But back to the point here, these two wide receivers are going to be absolutely crucial in the process, and I can't wait to watch them play. Looking at both of these guys, they know each other really well. Same teammates. They countered each other really well in terms of how they opened up the offense for Iowa State. Cam Skattebo, I think that would have been a perfect round out for the team. Go get Cam Skattebo in the 4th round. That would have been hilarious if they did that. But I love Woody Marks and what he brings to the table. Definitely a great runner. Downhill, can break some tackles. Pretty similar to Joe Mixon, to be completely honest. But this is going to be a good team. It really is. You got your 1-2 punch with Mixon and Marks. You have your 1-2-3 punch at wide receiver, even 4. Collins, Higgins, Kirk, Noel. Higgins and Noel, they're rookies. We don't really know what to expect. But Kirk is a veteran. He can step up until something happens, because he's had some past history with some ankle problems and stuff like that. But this team's going to be good. Part of that is going out and getting 2 wide receivers from the same team in the draft. So I'm a big fan of the Houston Cyclones. I see some people making fun of them. Some people saying, the Texans should have taken offensive line. They did. They took Ariante Ursary. Probably could have taken more. But I like the offense. And it's what's expected for this team, because you need to go offense in order to win games. So that's enough of me rambling. Hopefully you guys get the memo. Jaden Higgins, Jaylen Noel, look out for them. They're going to be studs this year. It's going to be some fun for the Houston Texans, but just wanted to do a little bit of a deeper dive. I know we talked about them, but just kind of the diamond of the rough that they can bring to this young receiving core already. Love Nico Collins and everybody that has to offer it, but now you bring in some more studs. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch, but thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. Comment down below your thoughts on the Texans, and as always, it's been a pleasure. Appreciate you watching. We'll catch you in the next video.